President Donald Trump went on a trip to the Middle East in May of 2025. He visited three countries: Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. The trip was from May 14th to May 17th. President Trump's main reason for the trip was to make important agreements. These agreements were about trade, which means buying and selling things, and also about defense, which means helping countries protect themselves. President Trump helped sign very big deals. For example, in Qatar, he was part of signings for over $1 trillion in business. One very large deal was for a big company to buy many new airplanes. There were also deals for weapons and other important technology. During his time in Qatar on May 15th, President Trump said something that was very surprising. He spoke about the Gaza Strip. Gaza is a small piece of land in the Middle East. For a long time, there has been much fighting in and around Gaza. The fighting became much worse after October 7th, 2023. By the middle of May in 2025, the war had caused terrible problems for the people living in Gaza. Many people had lost their lives. Reports said that more than 53,000 Palestinians had been killed since the war started. About 1 in 3 of these people were children. The fighting had also caused huge destruction in Gaza. Many towns and cities were badly damaged or completely destroyed. President Trump himself said that there was practically no building standing in many places. This meant that people's homes, schools, and hospitals were gone. Because of the war, life was extremely difficult for the people in Gaza. Many people did not have enough food to eat. More than 1 million people had to leave their homes because it was not safe to stay there. They moved to other parts of Gaza and lived in simple tents or temporary shelters. The conditions for these people were very bad. Aid groups were trying to help, but it was hard to get help to everyone who needed it. Even though Gaza was in this difficult situation, President Trump talked about a new plan for the area. He called his idea a freedom zone. He said he had concepts for Gaza that I think are very good. He suggested that the United States could get involved and make Gaza into a freedom zone. He described Gaza as a place of death and destruction. He showed pictures from the air that showed how much was destroyed. He said, "It's not like you're trying to save something. There's no buildings." President Trump said he really wanted to see Gaza become a freedom zone. He said, "And if it's necessary, I think I'd be proud to have the United States have it, take it, make it a freedom zone." This idea was very different from what people expected. It was a big statement suggesting the United States might take control of Gaza for a long time and rebuild it. This could mean that the people who live in Gaza now might have to move away. This surprising idea from President Trump made many people around the world talk. People wanted to know more about this plan and what it would mean for Gaza and its people. It was a very important moment because a powerful leader had suggested a completely new future for a place that had suffered greatly. 2. A new plan for Gaza. President Donald Trump was on a trip in the Middle East in May of 2025. He talked about his idea for Gaza. He was in Doha, Qatar, on May 15th when he spoke more about it. He called his idea a freedom zone for Gaza. President Trump said that the United States could take control of Gaza. He said Gaza was a place with much death and destruction. He looked at pictures and saw that almost no buildings were standing. He said it was not like trying to save something old because everything was broken. He said he had ideas that he thought were very good for Gaza. He wanted the U.S. to get involved and make it a freedom zone. He said the U.S. could take it and make good things happen there. He wanted to see Gaza become like a beautiful holiday place, like the Riviera of the Middle East. This plan meant big changes for the people living in Gaza. There were many people there, more than 2 million. More than 1 million people had already lost their homes because of the fighting. More than 53,000 people had died. People were living in tents and there was not enough food. Under President Trump's idea, the people in Gaza might have to leave their homes. He said people could move to other countries. This was a very difficult idea for the people who lived there. Gaza is their home. President Trump said the U.S. might need to own Gaza for a long time to fix it. He said they would be in charge of removing dangerous bombs and rebuilding everything. He presented this as a way to help, noting that children were hungry. But President Trump did not explain many things about his plan. He did not say exactly how the people would leave Gaza. He did not say which other countries they would go to. He also did not say who would pay for all the rebuilding work. He did not give a clear plan or say when it would happen. The idea was that the U.S. or groups helped by the U.S. would rebuild Gaza. But for this to happen, the people who lived there now would have to move out, at least for a time. This was a very surprising and big idea for the future of Gaza. It made many people around the world think and talk. 3. Many say no to the plan. President Donald Trump's idea for Gaza made many people unhappy. It was May in the year 2025. People in Palestine heard the plan. They were very angry. This plan for Gaza was called a freedom zone by President Trump. Hamas is a group in Gaza. Hamas leaders said the plan was very wrong. They said it was like forcing people out of their homes because they are Palestinian. Some people call this ethnic cleansing. Hamas said this plan would cause a lot more trouble. It would make things worse in the area. One leader from Hamas said President Trump's comments were not serious. He said they were ridiculous. He said people in Gaza would not let this plan happen. Another Hamas leader said Gaza belongs to Palestinians. It is not a thing to sell. He said America seems to help Israel more than it helps Palestinians. He said this shows America is not fair. The health group run by Hamas in Gaza also said the plan made people feel very sad and unsafe. Leaders of the Palestinian Authority also spoke against the plan. The Palestinian Authority is the government that rules some parts of Palestine. President Mahmoud Abbas is the head of the Palestinian Authority. He said he strongly did not accept the plan. He said making people leave their homes is a big problem. He said it is against the rules that countries agree to follow. Another important Palestinian leader said that Palestinians will not be forced away from their land. He said the Palestinian people will stay. A Palestinian representative at the United Nations also talked about this. He said Gaza is a very important part of Palestine. He said Palestinians will not leave Gaza. He said no power on earth can make them leave their home. He said they want to rebuild Gaza. He asked all countries to help them do this. So the Palestinian leaders were very clear. They said people in Gaza must stay in their homes and rebuild. They will not move to other countries. The countries near Palestine also said they did not like the plan. These are Arab countries. Leaders from Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia talked about President Trump's idea. They said that making people in Gaza move is not acceptable. They said this plan would make the whole area less safe. It could cause the fighting to get bigger. It could also stop the chance for peace in the future. Saudi Arabia is a big and important country. Its government said they would not make peace with Israel if the plan meant forcing Palestinians out of their homes. They said this was not something they could agree to. Jordan's King Abdullah II also said he would work to protect the rights of Palestinians. Qatar is another Arab country. Qatar often helps groups talk to each other to try and stop fighting. Qatar said that the future of Gaza must be decided by the Palestinian people themselves. The leader of Qatar, Emir Sheikh Tamim, said that Gaza needs help to get food and build things again. He said this should happen without making people leave. So many important groups and countries said no to President Donald Trump's idea for Gaza. They all agreed that the plan was wrong. They said it would cause many problems for the people and the region. 4. What other countries think? Some people in Israel had different ideas about the plan. Some leaders, like Prime Minister Netanyahu, said it was a bold vision. They thought it was a strong idea for the future. Some other leaders in Israel also liked it a lot. They said helping Gazans move away was the only right way to stop the fighting. They even thought about taking full control of Gaza. But many other people in Israel, like thinkers and leaders, were worried. They said this plan was not careful. They said it broke important rules about people's rights and international law. They felt it made Gaza seem like land to buy, not a place for over 2 million people. These people thought the plan was not fair and could hurt peace. They also felt it showed a big change in U.S. thinking. In the United States, many leaders did not like President Trump's idea for Gaza. People in the U.S. government, especially from one main political group, were very against it. They said it was dangerous and wrong. They said it was against the law. One important leader said it was like ethnic cleansing by another name. This means forcing a group of people out of their land. Another leader said if the U.S. did this, many U.S. soldiers could be killed in a long war. Groups that protect people's rights in the U.S. also spoke against the plan. They said forcing people from their homes could be a crime against humanity. This is a very serious wrong act against many people. Countries in Europe were also very clear. They did not support the plan. The leader for talking with other countries in Germany said making people leave Gaza was unacceptable. She said it was against the rules countries follow. She warned it would bring more sadness and hate. France agreed. They said the plan was a serious violation of international law. They said it was bad for what Palestinians hope for. France also said it made it much harder to have 2 states for Israelis and Palestinians. Spain's leader said Gaza is the land of Palestinian Gazans, and they must remain in Gaza. Other countries in Europe like Ireland and the UK felt the same. Russia also said no to moving Palestinians and wants 2 states from talking. The United Nations is a very important group of countries. The head of the UN, Secretary General Antonio Guterres, spoke about the idea of people leaving Gaza. He did not name President Trump, but people knew what he meant. He said it is very important to follow the basic rules between countries, called international law. He said it is important to stop any ethnic cleansing. This means forcing a group of people out of their homes and land. The person who speaks for the UN leader said these words were because of President Trump's plan. The United Nations and other groups had already warned that forcing people away was wrong. They said people have a right to stay in their homeland. 5. Is the plan fair? It is May 2025, and Donald Trump is the President of the United States. This story is real. Many people looked closely at the plan for Gaza. Experts who study laws between countries also looked at it. They thought about if the plan was fair and followed international rules. These experts said that making people leave their homes is against international laws. There are important rules that protect people in times of conflict. One important rule book is called the Fourth Geneva Convention. This rule book says that a country in charge of a place cannot force people to leave their homes unless it is for their safety. Human rights groups are also very worried about the plan. These groups work to protect people's rights around the world. They said the plan was like ethnic cleansing. This is a very serious idea. It means forcing a group of people out of their land because of who they are. Human rights groups said that if the plan happened, it could even be a war crime. A war crime is a very bad act done during a conflict that breaks international rules. Different experts who study criminal law agreed. They said that if a country forces all the people in a place to leave forever, and they mean to do this, it can be a war crime. If it is a big, planned attack on many people, it can be called a crime against humanity. The United Nations, which is an important world group, also warned about the plan. The UN said it is important to follow international law. They warned against any action that could be like ethnic cleansing. The UN believes people in Gaza have rights, and these rights must be protected. Groups like Amnesty International, another human rights group, also spoke out. They said the plan was appalling and unlawful. This means it is very bad and against the law. Thinking about the people in Gaza, the plan seems very hard. Millions of people live there. Many have already lost their homes because of the war. They are suffering and have very little. If they had to leave, where would they go? Neighboring countries like Egypt and Jordan have said they cannot take so many people. Forcing them to leave their land and their homes would cause even more suffering. It would make the difficult situation much, much worse. This is a big reason why many people think the plan is not fair or right. 6. Problems for people in Gaza. Life is very hard for people in Gaza. Many people live there. Before the war, many had homes and jobs, but the war has changed everything. Many buildings are broken now. There is a lot of damage everywhere. More than 1 million people had to leave their homes because of the fighting. They had to go to other places inside Gaza that they hoped were safer. Many of these people now live in tents. They do not have warm houses. They do not have their old things. Life in the tent camps is very difficult. There is not always enough food or clean water. It is hard to live like this every day. The source text says that by May 2025, many people in Gaza had died. The war has caused great sadness and suffering for families. President Trump's idea is about making Gaza a freedom zone. This idea means that the United States might take control and rebuild Gaza. But it also suggests that the people who live there now might have to leave. This is a big problem for the people in Gaza. They have already lost so much. They do not want to leave their home, Gaza. Where would they go? This is a big question. There is not a safe place inside Gaza for over 1 million people to go if they must leave their current spots. And countries near Gaza say they cannot take so many people. For example, the country of Egypt has said they cannot let large numbers of people from Gaza come there. The country of Jordan has said the same thing. So if people in Gaza had to leave, many would have nowhere to go. Aid groups are organizations that help people in need. These groups say that Gaza needs help to rebuild. They say that the people who live in Gaza should stay and rebuild their lives there. They do not think it is good for people to be forced to leave their homes and their land. This plan could make the suffering much, much worse for the people who are already having a very hard time. Experts who know about international rules say that making people leave their homes by force is against the rules for countries. They say it is important to protect the rights of people. The United Nations also says that people should not be forced to leave their homes. The people in Gaza have been through a lot of pain. They have lost family, homes, and their normal lives. The idea that they might have to leave Gaza completely makes them very worried. They want to stay in their land and build a future there. 7. America's role and worries. President Trump's plan for Gaza was a big topic in America. It showed America's role in the Middle East is important, but it also caused many worries. One worry was about America's friends in the Middle East. Countries like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates are friends with the U.S. They want peace and stability. They also want a country for Palestinians. Trump's plan could make these friends unhappy. They signed big deals with the U.S., but they still said Palestinians must decide about Gaza and stay there. They worried the plan would make the region less safe. Another big worry was about the idea of 2 states. For many years, the U.S. has said there should be 2 countries, one for Israelis and one for Palestinians. Trump's plan, where the U.S. might take control of Gaza, could stop this idea. Some people in America worried this would end the hope for peace in the future. The plan also meant America might have to send its soldiers to Gaza. Gaza is a dangerous place because of the war. Sending soldiers there is very risky. Many people in America, especially leaders in the government, worried about this. They did not want American soldiers to fight in Gaza. Some people in America were also worried about how the world would see the U.S. They thought the plan was not fair to the people in Gaza. They worried it would hurt America's image around the world. It could make other countries trust America less when it talks about helping people or following international rules. The plan could also make it harder for America to help make peace between Israelis and Palestinians. If the U.S. is seen as taking one side or doing something unfair, it becomes hard to be a helper in talks. Inside America, there were different ideas. Many leaders in Congress did not like the plan. They said it was dangerous and maybe against international law. Some people who advise President Trump also worried. They thought it could make America's friends in the Middle East less close. They felt the plan was very different from what America usually tries to do in that part of the world. Some experts in America said the plan could pull the U.S. deeper into the war. They worried it would stop talks that were trying to end the fighting and get people held by groups like Hamas back home. They said the plan ignored what the Palestinian people want. So, President Trump's idea showed America's power to suggest big changes, but it also brought many questions and worries for America itself, its friends, and its role in trying to find peace. 8. What happens next? Many people who study the region think President Trump's plan is not a good idea. They think it will not work well. They say it does not listen to what the Palestinian people want for their home. Experts also worry that the plan could break international rules. These are important rules that countries agree to follow, especially during conflict. Making people leave their homes by force is against these rules. Some people say it could be a very bad action, like a war crime. The plan could also make the war in Gaza worse. It might cause more fighting or problems in the area. Some people think President Trump said this big idea to try and get a different, smaller deal later. This is like asking for a lot to get something less. But even if this is true, the idea has already made many people talk a lot about what should happen in Gaza in the future. President Trump's idea shows how things the United States says can change the situation in the Middle East. It shows that what America thinks is important to many countries. The plan has caused many discussions and worries around the world. It is not clear right now if this plan will really happen. Many countries like Egypt, Jordan, and those in Europe have said they do not support it. The United Nations has also spoken about the importance of protecting people's rights and not forcing them to leave their homes. In May 2025, the situation in Gaza is very difficult for the people living there. They have already faced war and lost much. The idea of leaving their homes again is very hard for them. Aid groups say the focus should be on helping Gaza rebuild and recover, not on moving people away. The plan has made the future of Gaza uncertain. It has also made people question the best way to help the people who are suffering. The conversation about Gaza's future is now wider, with many different ideas being discussed, even if President Trump's specific Freedom Zone plan is not widely supported. What do you think is the best way to help the people in Gaza?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.